And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at King of Tokyo Power Up. Now this is the first expansion for King of Tokyo that was published just a little bit after King of Tokyo came out. But just last year, King of Tokyo had a second edition. So here we now have King of Tokyo Power Up for the second edition. Don't worry if you've never seen the first expansion, never played it. And if you have King of Tokyo first or second edition, I'm pretty sure this works with both of them. Power Up is kind of an essential expansion. If you've not seen it before, it's going to make, before when you play King of Tokyo, you pick someone. I'm going to pick Gigazar, I'm going to pick the king. What does it matter? They're all the same. I'm just picking them based on looks. Well, now they're going to be very different. Let's take a look at what's in this box. So here you can have Panda Kai. He's now a new creature that's added. Looks like a giant panda who might have learned Kung Fu and be the one. But anyhow, so there's an extra character, right? But that's not really the focus of this. There's also some tokens that you're going to use. The focus of this is that you now have evolution cards. Now I'm going to quickly show you the evolution cards for my favorite character in the game, who is the King. Although he isn't my favorite evolution cards, but he's one of my favorites. And what I'm showing you here on the left are the ones from the original Power Up expansion for King of Tokyo Edition 1. We're looking at the Power Up expansion for Edition 2. And I just want you to see that they're pretty much the same thing. They just changed the wording on them. For example, discard this evolution when another monster takes control of Tokyo. You take control of it instead. Play when a monster who controls Tokyo leaves or is eliminated. Take control of Tokyo. So they're essentially the same thing. You can see here Jungle Frenzy. They have tokens. They're just a little bit clearer on the cards. So what we have here is we have a deck of cards. And you have 8 cards for your character. Although you can play a variant where you shuffle all the cards together. So I mix the King with Cyber Kitty or whatever. Mix them together and we draft them, which is interesting. I played that way before. But if you're playing with each character, you will shuffle these and you're going to put them in front of you. You're going to draw 2 cards and keep one of those cards. If you ever roll 3 hearts on dice, so if you roll 3 hearts on the dice, you can take another evolution card. You take 2 of them, keep one, put it in your hand. There are 2 types of evolution cards. There are temporary evolution cards. It's a one-time thing. You just play it and do what it says. And there are permanent evolution cards, which you will put in front of you, and it gives you a special ability for the rest of the game. All right, let's take a look at each of the characters, and we're going to start with the King. So the King here has some temporary evolution cards. We have here, when someone who leaves Tokyo leaves or eliminated, you take control of Tokyo. Here we have play at the end of your movement phase. If you wound someone and take control, you get an extra turn. You can force monsters you wound to yield Tokyo. I like this one a lot. There's a permanent evolution. You can force people to get out of Tokyo. A giant banana just gives you extra 2 health. If you wound someone, you get a point. You get an extra point when you take control of Tokyo, or if you start your turn in Tokyo. I like that. If you yield Tokyo, you don't lose any hit points. You can't lose points this turn. It's a temporary one. But then there's my favorite card in the game probably. 'Twas Beauty Killed the Beast. You play it when you're in Tokyo. You get 1 point at the end of each monster's turn, including yours. And discard this card, lose all your points if you leave Tokyo. So you go into Tokyo, you say, I'm not coming out. And you're not, because if you come out, you lose all your points. But you can try to just stay in there as long as possible and get points. It's a desperate card, but it can be super, super fun. All right, let's take a look at some of the other cards that come with this. Now, here we have Cyber Kitty. She's like an annoying one. All other monsters lose a point. This one's interesting. I do like Catnip. You can play it at the start of your turn, and you only get 1 roll, but everything is doubled. It can be really cool, but it depends on your roll. Everyone gives you a point or energy. 9 lives is kind of interesting because when you die, you basically restart. You get 9 health, 9 points, and keep playing. It's kind of an interesting card. I'm curious. I like this one works well if you die quickly. So you can go in Tokyo and try to get a bunch of points, and if you die, whatever, you kind of reset to 9. Here, if Tokyo is empty, you can take control of it instead of the monster whose it is. If you roll 1, you get a point. Whenever someone loses at least 2 health from you, you can make them lose 2 less health and steal a point and an energy from them instead. I don't like that as much because I like to hurt people. But here, if you roll at least a 1, you add an attack to your roll. That's not bad. Cyber Bunny is also included in this game, even though Cyber Bunny is no longer in 2nd edition. If you have 1st edition, they give you the evolution cards for that. You can't lose health on a turn. Get a bunch of energy. Get 1 energy for every energy you already got this turn. Here, every time you buy a power card, get a point. Cyber Bunny's about evolving, of course. Here you can pay 2 energy, and if you roll at least 1 hit, you can add another hit, and you get an energy for each hit you rolled this turn, an energy sword, which of course you only pull out when in case of emergency if you're being flown away by another giant winged creature. This one's probably my favorite one from Cyber Bunny. The price of power cards you buy is reduced by 1. Really nice, cool, gives you some bonuses. Panda Kai, he's the new one that's in this set. Here, when someone buys a power card, you basically say, nope, you can't buy that card this turn. Or here, when you take control, you can hit everyone outside of Tokyo, make them lose 2 points, and then you get out of Tokyo. Here you get 6 energy, but give everyone else 3. Here you lose a point to get 2 energy and 2 health, the bare necessities. Here, if you roll 3 health, you get a point, plus a point for each health you roll. That's kind of cool, but Panda Kai's powers are not as fun as others, I think, for me anyway, except he has this bank where you can put energy on this card. He puts 1 on every turn, and you can take it all off. He has yin or yang, which lets you switch sides of dice, which is neat. And he has, if you roll a straight, you get 2 points and take another turn. Haha, just kidding. I love Panda Kai. He has really great abilities. Then we have Alienoid here, who has a permanent ability. They can spend a point, energy to get a point. Get an energy for points they lose. Just take 2 points for a temporary thing. Draw cards so you get a keep card that costs 4 or less. This one's interesting. If you roll 3 2s, everyone else loses a hit point. Here, you can put 2 energy on this card. And if you roll 3 hits, you can take your energy back and make any monsters you wound lose 2 extra health. Otherwise, you lose it. So it's kind of like gambling on if you're going to hit someone or not. Here, you're going to put extra tokens on this card. And you can get rid of these tokens to discard the power cards. That's not so bad. But Superior Alien Technology is a neat thing. Here you can buy technology cards or upgrade cards or keep cards for half price. The problem is you're going to put one of these tokens on, and every time you're going to roll a die for each of these, and if you roll a hit symbol on the die, then you're going to lose that card. But still, half price, I'm doing it. Then we have Gigazar. So Gigazar here has another can't hit me this turn. All other monsters lose 2 points. Tail, you can always change a 1 to a 2. If you start your turn in Tokyo, everyone else loses a point. You can change one of your dice to an attack, and monsters you wound with the attack lose 1 point. He is easily my least favorite of all of them. I just feel he has the most boring cards. But then we have the Kraken. All right. He heals 2, makes other people lose 2, has cult worshippers just like Cthulhu does in the set. This one here, roll 1 die for each hit point you lost this turn. Don't lose a hit point if you roll a heart. So he has a chance to not get hurt as much. In fact, he can pass his turn and just take 3 points and 3 energy. Or High Tide, you can play this when you roll hearts and add 1 to each of your roll. And here, you get a health every time you take control of Tokyo, and you can have up to 12 health. So you can see the Kraken is about, well, basically not dying. All right, let's take a look at my 2 favorite characters from this set. We have the Mecha Dragon. Now, the Kraken and the Cyber Bunny are in 1st edition. Mecha Dragon's in the 2nd one, and I'm glad because he is all about attacking people. This guy's crazy. Look at this. Get a energy for every attack you roll in a turn. Each monster you make lose health loses 2 extra health. Here, if you're not in Tokyo, skip your turn. Okay, that's fine. It's just like the last one. Every time someone else dies, you get 3 points and 2 energy. Here, if you lose health, you can roll a die. And if you roll an attack, the monster whose turn it is loses 1. You hit me, there's a chance I'm going to hit you back. Here, you can give someone else a token, and you're basically going to keep targeting them and do extra damage to them. If you make someone else lose at least 3 health, they'll lose an extra health. And when you hit the monsters in Tokyo, monsters who aren't in Tokyo also lose 1. So you're just a mean, nasty fighting machine. I like the Mecha Dragon. Then we have Space Penguin. Space Penguin's about freezing people or freezing dice. So he can play this, and each person only has 1 roll, and they can't leave Tokyo. Or everyone else is going to roll 1 less die. Or here you can take 1 power card for free. That's a really nice thing. I hope I draw the extra head when that happens. Here you can freeze a die for everybody else. Here, when you wound someone, you can give a a card, and you basically pick one of their dice and shut it down. Here, every time you take control of Tokyo, you get a point, and you get a point when you could have quit Tokyo, but you didn't. I like that. Makes them fight. This one I really enjoy. I can shuffle discard pile, reveal a card randomly, and buy it for one less. That's really neat. It kind of gives you a discount. It's probably not as good as Alienoid's discount power, but it's fun. And here I can put a card on this on top of someone else's, and this becomes a copy of that card. That's super great. Someone else gets an extra head. I have an extra head now, except mine is made of ice. So that's basically what's in this expansion, just some more cards. Let's go to final thoughts. So there you have it. That's Power Up. Now, there's one disappointment I have with this King of Tokyo Power Up, and that is the King of New York Power Up just came out, and the King of New York Power Up had Power Up cards for both King of New York and for King of Tokyo. This one has cards for only King of Tokyo. It doesn't let you cross over into King of New York, which is really weird. Now, granted, most people play King of Tokyo, so it's not that big of a deal, but I thought that was kind of odd. Having the crossover would be pretty neat, especially since King of New York Power Up just came out. But what do you do? I mean, I suppose you could use... No, you couldn't use the cards completely in New York, so who knows. But I do think it's neat that they have the cards for the first edition characters, and they have all the cards for the second edition characters, and they have a new character in here with special cards. So there are 9 sets of special cards in here, each with 8, so you're getting 72 cards. You're also getting Panda Kai, who has his own special thing. And so you can see, you can pick someone who is based on your playstyle. If you're like me, you're taking the King, or you're taking Mecha Dragon, and we're going to town. But you might want to take the Kraken now, who's going to heal a lot, or the Space Penguin, or you might like that technology, so you're going to take Alienoid. And I think that's cool. Now, I don't mind the drafting thing, although you're going to end up with all sorts of weird monsters. This does a lot of good things. One, it gives you those unique powers, the temporary ones and the permanent ones, and they're fun. I mean, one of the things people love most about King of Tokyo is buying the upgrades, buying the evolutions, I'm sorry, these are the evolutions, but buying the different cards because they're fun, getting the extra head or getting something that gives you points or, flame breath or whatever they are. It's neat. It's fun. It makes you unique. Well, this one, you're guaranteed to start with a unique thing, and you can get more as the game goes by. Besides, you can still get that other stuff. So now the game just has more of a fun feel to it because you're like, oh, look at what my monster can do. Secondly, when you're in Tokyo and you roll health, you can't heal in Tokyo. That's just the rule of King of Tokyo. But now if you roll 3 hearts in Tokyo, you can get an evolution card. So that's, again, that gives you something to be used with those hearts and healing and things, and you'll find that in the games that you play with this, especially the first couple times, people are like, give me some more evolutions, give me some more evolutions. All right, let's fight now. This is great. It's essential to me for King of Tokyo. My initial review of it was kind of lukewarm. I was like, many years ago when I first reviewed it, but now I'm really coming around on it. I really like it. I almost always play with it if possible. That's King of Tokyo Power Up. Dice Tower Judgment, excellent!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
There.